What's up, my ninjas? I'm Strydent, and I am back with a rant. I haven't been doing these. Actually, I really don't do rants, like official, straight up rants. I usually just speak my piece in a video, but I felt like I'm going to rant about a subject that was actually featured in an Off Our Brains, the last one that we recorded. We actually recorded it earlier today, but I feel like we went off on too many tangents, and I didn't really get to I mentioned these things, but I didn't get to drive these points home. So, the Fwoosh, it's a site I used to be on all the time. It was between that, Action Figure Picks, and Toy News International. That's where I would find out all my new toy stuff. You know, I would talk to people in the forums on the Fwoosh, and then they just became another Marvel Legends site. You know what I mean? Like a page dedicated essentially to the Marvel Legends figures, and I'm tired of those figures. They're not the best figures out there. I collect the best figures. You know what I mean? Like for the money that I spend, you know, the budget that I have, SH Figure Arts are just the most bang for your buck, and then the most quality figures in they're the most quality figures in the I don't know, to me, in the action figure, the 6-inch figure realm, you know. But the Fwoosh, they started a Kickstarter, good lord, and it's for their line of action figures called Articulated Icons. Their icons are essentially, it's a line that's supposed to supplement or, you know, kind of help add to the ranks of your 6-inch action figures with supplemental characters like ninjas and samurai and probably cops and robbers and, you know, civilians and shit like that. You know what I mean? And so what they did was the first portion, what you're seeing in the Kickstarter, is the ninja. Now, when they showed the pictures of these ninjas on the Fwoosh, you had a ninja with, you know, I think 2 sets of interchangeable hands, wrist guards, a hoodie, like a scarf to go around his neck. And like those parts were cast in the color, because they come in multiple colors. I think there's blue, black, white, and red. I could be wrong. It might just be red, white, and blue, something like that. Navy blue. But so the characters are cast in whatever color, almost their entire body. Then the hands are cast in a flesh tone, and then the head is cast in the same color as the body, but they painted what's in between the flesh, in between the visor, what's showing in between the mask, the low mask, and the hood. So it's a really cheap way, and it's extremely cost effective, realistically, to make your figure this way, because all you're really doing is you're pretty much you're selling people a very basic mold, you know what I'm saying, of a very basic design. Gentle Giant Studios was supposed to be sculpting these figures, and the sculpt looks nice, but the articulation is Marvel Legends level articulation. So it's not the greatest articulation. So when we saw these, we were excited. Both me and ODC, that's me, and Agent O. We were all like, damn, this is going to be cool, because so we can get a bunch to be the hand. Agent O and I wanted to get a white one and then paint parts red, or get a white and a red one and switch out parts so we could have a Joe Musashi, which is the original main character from Shinobi. I was really geeked about that, because that's one of the things that's missing from my collection. I don't have a ninja. You know, I don't have any ninjas. I have ninjas in my G.I. Joe collection. So, fast forward a few weeks, and the Kickstarter starts, and they tell us that the price of these figures is going to be $35 for the basic one, $45 for the next one up, and then $50 to $65 for the deluxe one. They broke it up where the basic one just comes with one set of hands, the sword, and the hoodie, and that's it. Then the next one up comes with more stuff, and then the $50 to $60 one, he's painted properly, like he's got a wash over his body, so it's not just a red or a blue or a white mold. And then he comes with a base, and he comes with all the stuff that the other two came with. So essentially, the $50 to $60 one is the one that we saw the pictures of when they announced that they were doing this. A similar thing happened with Marauders. Now, I think Marauders, it might be a misunderstanding. I just want to clarify, and I will be doing that in the next couple days. But when they did their Kickstarter for the Task Force figures, they showed us a figure with all these interchangeable modular parts. You know, pouches, clips for your grenades, knife sheaths, different holsters, you know, fast draw ones, the old school ones, shoulder holsters, the whole nine, different helmets, different types of armor, web gear, and all that shit was supposed to come in the pack, because that's what they showed you. They showed you a figure, multiple heads, multiple helmets, a hat, blah, 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 you know, all kinds of shit. So then when I take part in it, paid $20 for a 3 3/4 inch figure, I ended up getting just the figure, web gear. It was the figure, web gear, a bunch of holsters, I think 3 holsters, 2 with 1 pistol, 2 knife sheaths with 2 knives, 2 different types of knives, an extra head that had the Call of Duty Ghosts kind of, you know, Ghosts balaclava with the skull, some pouches, and a sniper rifle. And that's it. And I'm like, that's not what you showed me. So essentially, I think this is going to be the trend with Kickstarters for action figures like this that are supplemental, because the main companies are not handling their business, so someone else is going to jump in. They're going to show you more to get your eyes hungry, and then they're going to give you less and leave you hanging, so you're going to come back to them and pay more money to get those things. So I'm not happy about that. Anyway, that's what they're doing with these freaking articulated icons. Number one, icons. They would be characters, people that you know. A ninja is a ninja. It's a generic character until there's personality added to the design of a ninja. You can't tell me that you're going to give me a basic ninja and he has no name, no nothing, and you're going to charge me $35 to $60. Like, you've bypassed Marvel Legends as far as price goes, but you're not really giving me that much more. I mean, granted, when I pay the $60, you know, after shipping and tax and all that shit, I pay the $60. I'm going to have a lot of accessories, but, and that would be more than Marvel Legends, but I just paid for almost twice what an SH Figuarts cost. No, homie, no, because you didn't give me a Figuarts in the package. Now, there's some more that I want to add to this, because I have problems with the Fwoosh. It's why I left the Fwoosh, and I don't post on the Fwoosh. I'm still subscribed to their YouTube, because the YouTube is fairly new. But I already don't like the reviews. In the beginning, their reviews were good because they were new at it, and I guess they realized that there are reviewers on YouTube that are more comprehensive than they are, so they were trying to do something better. But then, now that they have their regulars that show up to every video and say the same shit on every video, they're not trying. You know, they like everything, and then I'm noticing too that all they review is Marvel Legends. We have enough of that on YouTube. You have the whole ACBA community. And then the Foosh wants to jump in and do that shit. It's like, come on, guys. And then they constantly, a lot of them, there's one guy who, in particular, he's kind of Southern. I don't know what his name is. I can't remember his name. He's very kind of apologetic about various figures. A figure will be broken, or it won't be able to stand, or the armor doesn't stay on, or the blah blah blah. And he'll be like, "Oh, I can glue that on. I can fix it. I'll take a little elbow grease and some blah blah blah, and I'll fix it." And it's like, really, dude? That's you paid money for this shit. What really threw me for a loop is in one video he said that his son, and I mentioned this in the Off Our Brains, and I will not be able to get over it, because I have kids. We give our kid an allowance. We don't give him enough that he could buy a fucking 3A Toys Titanfall, mech figure. That huge mech that costs like $400 or $500 with lights and sounds, and comes with a full-size 6-inch figure to get inside of the mech. We don't come on now. We don't give our son that much money. It's allowance. It's not a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, they and given the amount of time in which the figure came out, it leads me to believe that they lead the kind of lifestyle where he can give his kid $50, you know, every week, so the kid could save up in a couple months and have enough to buy that, you know, that figure. But like, number one, that's a $500 toy, $400 and something toy. There are so many other things you could get with that money. I wouldn't encourage my kid to spend that kind of money, but that's what these guys do. These guys will say that a $60 conversion kit for your Masters of the Universe Classics is a good value, when a Masters figure on average costs $30. You know what I mean? So how is that a value when the head, a sword, and a necklace cost more than the fucking figure? These guys don't understand value. $30 figures being affordable value. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's not affordable. You're talking to the collector that has, you know, a serious disposable income. You're not talking to the average collector, which is you and me. We work our job, we pay our bills, you know, we get the little extras for our house so that our families are comfortable, and then what we got left, we put into our collections. Every now and then, we find something that might be expensive, a little bit more expensive, and we put in the extra, you know, money to get that so it can be a standout piece in your collection. But we don't go $500 strong. We're not like, let me whip out my dick and then just show you how big it is. And you know what I mean? Like, no, that's not what we do. So it's frustrating when you listen to them not only dick ride Hasbro and never really point out the problems with their figures. They always got an excuse and a solution to what the problem is. And it's like, the solution is Hasbro should make the figure better so that we can actually, you know, enjoy it out of the package. This is a company that pulls in $6 billion a year. $6 billion. And they cry poverty. And all you guys listen. You know what I mean? All those Marvel Legends fans out there, you guys believe them. You look at what Toy Biz was doing, and Toy Biz didn't make nearly as much as Hasbro. So I don't understand how you could believe that that's, you know, that's a quality assessment. You know what I mean? That what they're doing is right. When they complain and say, oh, we can't afford to actually pay our sculptors to sculpt new pieces for all of our figures, unique pieces, so that every figure is a little different. You know what I mean? We can't pay our sculptors to sculpt on top of the bodies that we already have. I mean, you collectors that are customizers, you do it. Why can't the professionals do it? It's not a tall order, but you've been told so long that it's so expensive, it's so hard. They can't do it. They can't do it. This, that, and the third. Now you believe it because you've heard it for so long. And then, you know, sites like the Fwoosh, they co-sign on that kind of shit because they get in bed with those guys and, you know, they get whatever. Sometimes, I know that most of the time they go out and they buy their shit just like the rest of us. But, I mean, they do stuff like buy the figure from like a Chinese seller months before it comes out. And then when the official release comes out, they buy that too. Even after you've learned that the figure was garbage, like Miss Marvel in the 3-pack with Cap and Radioactive Man. Garbage. My wife got it because it was on sale for like $20 on Target.com. I think 10 or $20. And we're like, for that, I'll buy it. Gave my son another villain. Gave my baby boy a Captain America that he could destroy, that I wouldn't have problems with him destroying. And it gave me an opportunity to see if Miss Marvel was cool. I ended up giving it to my son because I knew I was going to get the Carol Danvers Miss Captain Marvel later on that was being released with the cool swooshy hair and the extra head with the mask and stuff. And I liked it. I was happy with that. It's one of the few that actually met my, you know, expectations. But we didn't buy it for $50, especially not after buying the Chinese version. You know, why would you do that? It's like you have a problem. Then you make a video about it, and people are like, thanks, man, that's an awesome review. They didn't tell you anything. They pretty much told you that despite all the issues, they love the character, so they're going to buy the figures. And that's a lot of the pull of Marvel Legends, is that people love the characters. I'm in there too. I love the characters. There's a lot of characters I have that I bought it because I love the character and the figure was subpar. You know, I finally got to a point where I'm like, fuck it, I'm not going to buy them. I'm done. I'm not putting any more money into this. These guys hardly ever review Japanese figures unless it's some like shit that's super hot right now, like, you know, Attack on Titan or something, or if it's Transformers. There's one guy who's almost exclusively Transformers. They illogically support the, like I said earlier, the overpriced indie toys and accessories. Case in point is one time and I mentioned this, I'm pretty sure, in our Off Our Brains, the last one. I went on the Fwoosh. I frequently watch, I think his name is Daniel K. I think it is. I could be wrong. But anyway, he pretty much does Masters of the Universe reviews almost exclusively, or sword and sandal stuff exclusively. Matthew K. That's his name. Matthew K. I love his photography, but he obviously has deep pockets because he buys every single thing. He's subscribed to the Club Eternia. He's got everything that you could theme into that. You know what I mean? He's got it. And, you know, sometimes people just budget their money differently, but sometimes people, you can just tell because of the frequency of the purchases and the reviews and the equipment used for the photos. Dude is pretty, you know, he seems like he's in a decent state. And that's awesome because that's what we're all working towards, and I'm not knocking that. But there was the whole situation with Dan Panson Creations, where he did this review of a Conan head, like a Frank Frazetta Conan head. What Conan fan wouldn't want that in their collection? So I read the review. The guy speaks nothing of the price, but he says it's such a good value, blah, 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 whatever. I get in touch with the guys, and they tell me it's $60 for the head, or $65 for the head, a sword, not the Sword of Atlantis, mind you, just a generic sword, and a necklace, that Conan Barbarian necklace with the different teeth. $65. Clearly, it's not, these things are not meant for the casual, I shouldn't even say casual, because we're not casual, but just, we're average Joes. We don't have indisposable, or endless indisposable, endless disposable income. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not one of my priorities in life, the way that making sure my kid has, you know, pull-ups or food, and, you know, making sure, you know, the bills in the house are at least in the process of being paid at the very least. You know what I mean? At the very least. But, you know, we've got our cars, and thank God we've paid off our cars. But, you know, so the things need repairing. We make sure that, I make sure that, and I know that a lot of you that I talk to, you make sure that all your day-to-day necessities are taken care of. And then you move on to your action figures, you know, your hobby, your love, this thing that you love to do so much that you don't always get to do maybe as much as you would like because you work. You know, left up to, this is the thing, left up to us. If we controlled the way the world worked, we would have, our jobs would be collecting and reviewing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be awesome. And it would be this cycle where money comes in, goes right back out to those companies that make our favorite shit. And then we get on YouTube, we show the world what we got and how it works, and if it's good or if it's bad, or if it needs work, or if it's in between, or whatever. And we get paid by, hopefully, YouTube or whoever you're under. And you just keep doing this, rinse and repeat, you know? And it would be a living wage. It'd be above a living wage because, you know, we're doing something bigger than just buying the stuff. You know what I mean? Because if it sucks, it's going back. But because of us, since a lot of these companies don't do advertising like they used to, they don't do cartoons and stuff to advertise their figures, because a lot of this stuff, it's not even a sure bet that it's going to be popular. It's us that makes that shit work. And without us, and I mean this on many different levels because there are websites as well that do the same thing. Look at all the third-party Transformers stuff. If none of us spoke about that shit, it wouldn't sell because none of those fans that have the disposable income to afford a $300 version of a $20 toy that they had when they were a kid, none of them would know the shit existed. You know what I'm saying? So because of us, there's a whole market out there that thrives. And if the world was run by us, it would be awesome for us to be paid very well for doing what we do, because we're like PR people for these companies. But that's not how it goes. Instead, most of us have all these aspects of regular life that we have to uphold first before we can jump into our hobbies. And that's if we're doing things what I would call the right way. And I bring up doing things the right way because a number of us are married, or, you know, a number of us have girlfriends and whatever. It's not just you. You know what I'm saying? You got kids, whatever. If for those of us who are married or have girlfriends, you know, if mama ain't happy, no one is happy. You know the story, the phrase, happy wife, happy life. So we can't do things like spend $500 on a fucking toy. I mean, if we have it set up where the wife can spend $500 on some shoes, then you probably could get away with this shit. And I'm preaching to the choir. You don't even need to pay attention to what I'm saying. But I'm just saying the average Joes, the rest of us, that's not how it is. My wife wouldn't even do that. You know what I mean? If we were rich, she probably would. But right now, she looks at stuff sometimes that's expensive, but she'll say it before I could say it that, yeah, that's not in the budget. We'll work towards that another time. Or it'd be awesome if these were cheaper. So there's like kind of a check and balance, you know? I can't just do stuff like that where I'm causing strife for my woman and my family, the rest of my family, just so I can have a toy that's going to sit on a shelf. And that's what makes me angry about this whole Fwoosh thing. They could have been the champions for us collectors because they created something that was cost effective and a real alternative to the BS that we get from Hasbro. Like, for real. Because this, in theory, this is a for us, by us kind of project. But in application, what we got was a cash grab. And that makes me mad beyond belief. But when you think about all the moving parts, it's pretty obvious that they just wanted that guap. You know what I mean? A $35 first time Kickstarter, and that's your lowest, what's the word I'm saying? The word I'm looking for. That's the minimum buy-in. It's $35. Are you fucking kidding me? Who the fuck are you? You know what I'm saying? Like, people thinking about this, and I mean, like, Agent O has been keeping up on it, and he points it out to me every now and then. I think they've got 17 days to go, and they haven't even gotten very close to their goal. I personally think they'll probably reach their goal because the fans are stupid. And I hate that they are. I don't want them to be stupid. I want you guys to be, you know, super educated and super smart about this stuff so that when we make these purchases, we're making them with intelligence. We're not hurting anything in the process because this is a hobby. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of you guys don't even play with this shit. You just collect it, you look at it, it sits on a shelf, it makes you happy that way. You know what I mean? Then there's the half of us that actually either do stop motions or something with it. Then there's the ones of us that have kids and we play together with our kids and all the cool shit we buy. You know, there's a lot of different types of collectors. And what I'm saying is, it's not a necessity. But they're preying on those people who are the same idiots that can't wait and buy, you know, freaking Captain Phasma's Star Wars black figure that's not chrome and not as shiny as the figure, as the design looks in the film, you know, so it's not 100% on model, but they're buying it on eBay for almost $100. You know what I mean? Like, just so they can have it first. So what? You have it first. Now what? These are the fools that they're trying to capitalize off of. And I understand that if you're, as a business person, it is kind of smart to capitalize off of fools because a fool and their money will soon be parted. That makes sense. But this is a big group and we're not all fools. You know what I'm saying? We're many of us are pretty damn smart. Many of us are listening to people who are telling you to do good things, do smart things with your money. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just wasting it. Well, I mean, to each their own. You know, I can't tell you what to do 100%. I just feel like as a reviewer, the type of reviewer I am, I have to give you an opinion and a perspective that, you know, it speaks to the regular guy. It would be dope if we could just put aside $100,000 and be like, this is my toy money for the year. That would be beyond dope because I wouldn't spend all 100,000. There's not that much cool shit out there in action figures, but I could buy whatever it is I wanted. You know what I mean? That's not how all of us have it. You know, that's not how most of us have it. I mean, say what you will, you know, you can do the bravado and be like, yeah, I got stacks, I got racks on racks on racks. Whatever. You got it how you got it. Whatever. You're one person. There's a handful of other people out there like you. You guys can have that conversation. I'm not dissing you because the idea is to live a better life. I got it. I understand. Work hard, stack your fucking guap, and do what you want to do. You know what I mean? So you spend it how you want to spend it. What I'm saying is for the rest of us who, you know, we're a few bills from check to check. You know what I'm saying? Like we're pretty decent, but you know, if the car goes out today, then we're kind of like, fuck. There's my next couple checks going to fix the car. Like this is who I'm talking to. People who don't go out every day and buy 50 fucking Hot Toys figures. You know what I'm saying? People who don't go out and drop $500 on a mecha from a okay video game. It's not even the most popular. It hasn't even been around for, I think it's been around for a year. And you drop 400, 500 bucks on a fucking robot from that. The design isn't even that unique either. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not us. We don't do that kind of shit. We would drop 100 bucks on a perfect grade Gundam, or maybe 150, 200 bucks on a perfect grade Gundam because we know that the Gundam design is perfect. We know that it's going to be quality because Bandai is behind it. That's when we drop that kind of money. You know what I mean? We're the type of people who you wait 20 some odd years for a fucking Defiant. And then you get it for well under 700 or 800 bucks. You know what I'm saying? Even though you have to look for some parts, you get it with just about everything still intact, and you all you have to do is go find your 7 or 8 parts, and you're good. It's complete. You didn't even pay shit. I didn't even pay 200 bucks for my Defiant. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of collectors we are. We don't have to have it right now. We can get it when we can get it. And it makes sense to us that way because that's life. There's other things that come before this. This is our retreat from all the stresses of our day-to-day. It doesn't take precedence over all of our responsibilities. I feel like those guys, it's like, fuck it. Either they make so much money they don't have to worry about it, and if that's the case, then hey, cool. Or they just don't give a shit, and it's all about that, and it's all about them moving along. I was watching something the other day. I can't even remember what it was. I can't remember who was doing the review, but it was a review on the Marauders figures. And there was a fat guy, and there was like a regular-sized guy. You know, still kind of husky, but just, you know, he wasn't nearly as big as the other guy. Fat dude bought all the figures. He bought like, well, not all the figures, but he bought like, I think one of, how many figures? 4 or 5 figures. And they were all a different color, and they all had different loadouts. And he put a lot of money into the Kickstarter. The other guy didn't, but he's a G.I. Joe fan, so he wanted to look at the figures too. Every time he touched one of the figures, the fat guy's figures, the fat dude gave him a look like, motherfucker, I swear to God, if you break my figures. I'm like, you're adults. You just put freaking like 80 bucks into a Kickstarter. You can go spend 80 more and get that fucking, you know, a bunch of those guys again. You could spend the 11 bucks and buy another figure from Marauders if you're so scared that he's going to break it. You know what I mean? You could have even bought one for him. Come on, he's supposed to be your boy. And the dude kept making a joke like, oh, he thinks I'm going to break his figures. And dude's like, because you always do break people's figures. He looked like that fat kid at school when we were all kids that would have all the Joes Bring him to school so he can brag, but he wouldn't let anyone touch him, and the minute you touch him, he fucking cries. He looked like the grown-up equivalent of that. You know what I mean? Most of us, that's not us. At least most of my ninjas. I know that's not you guys. I know it's not you guys. You're not these greedy, like, I must have it now, because we've had these discussions before where we're talking about how foolish it is for folks to jump on the evil bay prices. You know what I'm saying? Like, and how that's just unnecessary. So I know when I'm talking to you guys that you feel what I'm saying. This is not how it is, and I hate the fact that it's almost as if we're being put in that box the way that they were doing things, you know? It's like we're being put in the box of, you know, all collectors are greedy, all collectors are selfish, all collectors have ridiculous, you know, dividends that they want to spend on, or funds, I'm sorry, that they want to spend on toys. And that's not the way it works, you know? And part of me hopes they fail so they can see that that was a greedy way to go. I listened to a portion of the, they had a Fwoosh cast, like what, earlier this month, I think it was, that they had pretty much the team that's making these figures. And essentially they said that they just made the figure with whatever they wanted to use, and then they decided what the price would be afterwards. I'm not a business specialist, I'm not a genius, but that doesn't sound like good business acumen at all. Why would you just be like, I'm going to make this super expensive thing, and then I'm going to tell people, guess what? It's super expensive. I chose for it to be super expensive, even though it's a no-name fucking ninja. It's something that's very generic. You're going to pay what I decide for you to pay. That's not thinking about your demographic. That's not even thinking about your fans. That's literally like, fuck you, pay me, end of story. Is that who you're going to give your money to? I mean, when did it become like that? I mean, if they were making if they were making like the ultimate Jim Lee Cyclops, or like first Gouken, how they made that perfect giant Krang's android body, and now they're about to do Shredder. They can ask for a ridiculous price. The figure's got metal on it, a lot of metal. The figure's hefty. It's got lights, LED lights in it. It comes with, you know, cool accessories that are actually accurate to games and episodes of the show. They can ask for that. That's a high-end figure. A fucking ninja with like 30 points of articulation, which is going to end up like Marvel Legends, where certain things work and certain things don't. That's supposed to be worthy of like that kind of price tag, you know? SH Figuarts is higher than SH Figuarts price tag, and it can't do what our SH Figuarts do. Like, come on, that doesn't make any sense. They have no right to even jump into that territory and try to be like, yeah, that's what you're going to pay because we decided that that's how it's going to be. That's fucked up, you know? And I feel insulted that they would do that. Like I had said earlier, they could have been our like new champs, because they're picking up where Hasbro fell off. Instead, Mattel is going to be those champs, because Mattel has been smart. Their Creator Superstar figures are perfect if you want to army build different little things. If you want a bunch of soldiers, there's a John Cena figure that's wearing like soldier gear. All you have to do is swap the head, because most people can't stand John Cena. I am one of them. Swap out the head. There you go. If you want to make a bunch of goons, get him, get the Bray Wyatt figure, get the Rocker set, interchange some parts, you got goons. If you want to make a bunch of Spartans, you get the freaking Gladiator set that has Triple H in there. Give one the helmet, make all the rest of them not wear helmets. Or make them all wear helmets and make the leader not wear a helmet. I mean, you can play around with it however you want. You know what I mean? You have so many options. And the figures cost either $12 for the basic or $20 for the, or I'm sorry, $19.99 for the deluxe. That's smart business acumen right there, because that's something that's affordable. You'll drop 20 bones on a figure because that's about what most figures cost. The difference is that in this case, you're getting multiple figures for that cost, because they have 2 bodies, 2 sets of legs, 2 sets of arms, 2 different heads, extra weapons and extra parts, so you can outfit them the way you want to outfit them. And the review is coming up very soon. So I just don't get how they think they can pop up out of nowhere first try and try to completely hustle your wallet. Please don't support these motherfuckers. Don't. There has to be a point where we say, like, we will deal with this, but we will not deal with this. And I know you guys watched Off Our Brains and you heard me rant there, but I felt like there was more I had to get out, and this is that more. So with that, I'm done. I will catch you on the next video. Peace outside.